What's your message to Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party right now?
I say shame on the Democratic Party that can't meet a low moral litmus test of calling genocide into question. You can't deny it. Quit enabling it. There's precious human beings there. And in fact, if you don't do it, it's going to be another sign of your myopia.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Kamala Harris is who you said that the Democratic Party appeared poised to put into that position. You were critical there, obviously, of President Biden's policy. What, if anything, is different? How do you compare yourself to Kamala Harris if she does become the Democratic nominee for president?
Well, I think, Kamala Harris is the party of war. She's a war hawk. The Democratic Party was always the peace party. Kamala Harris is a war hawk on Ukraine. She's a war hawk on China. I think that we should be figuring out ways to coexist with the rest of the world as best we can. Of course, we need to protect our national security. I think she's not going to do anything about the national deficit. I've never heard her speak about the chronic disease epidemic, I think she's a product of the corporate control of our democracy. And she's one of the authors of, in terms of civil rights, she has one of the worst civil rights record of any public official. She's the author of one of the primary authors of the school to prison pipeline. She kept 5,000 people, despite a Supreme Court order that she released 5,000 prisoners of nonviolent drug crimes who were illegally in California jails. She kept them in there saying that we needed them for firefighting and for other public work services. And that's just a modern version of indentured servitude, a modern version of slavery. She was one of the two leading public officials in California, which now has the worst education system, 49th in education outcomes in the country. 50% of the homeless people in our country are in California, and she was behind those policies. I don't think she has a good, I don't think, in terms of the traditional democratic principles, I don't think she has a credible record.
Hey, welcome back. It's your man Wise, and today we have huge news coming out of the RFK Jr. campaign. But before we dive into that, if there's one thing that I've learned over my 44 years of life, it's that politics is a ruthless game of horse trading. You have to make sure you're getting the most out of every deal, and when someone outlives their usefulness, you toss them to the side faster than last night's cold pizza. Just look at what the Democrats are doing to Joe Biden. They never really liked him. He was just a puppet, a placeholder, someone they could control and manipulate until they found something better. Now that he's become a liability, they're ready to throw him out like yesterday's trash. That's politics, folks. It's ruthless, cold, and all about survival. They used him when it suited their agenda, but now they can't get rid of this guy fast enough. And who have they replaced him with? None other than Comrade Kamala. Harris represents everything that's wrong with this administration. She represents everything that's wrong with the Democratic Party. If you thought things were bad under Biden, you wait until she gets in charge. The gulags, the soup lines, and probably the freaking soup kitchens, the pantries will be empty because everybody and their mama will be there with their hands out. The polls might show her doing better than Biden, but let's not kid ourselves, people. Any lead she has is razor thin and well within the margin of error. This race is going to be tight, and with RFK Jr. and even Cornel West in the mix, things are about to get very interesting. Now let's talk about RFK Jr. and Cornel West for a second. Cornel West is out here making a lot of noise. I don't know if he can pull enough votes to make a significant impact on things, but RFK Jr., who's a real wild card in this race, and he is that no matter how you look at it, the Kennedy name carries a whole heck of a lot of weight, especially with old school Democrats. And any RFK supporters who were already going to jump ship for Kamala, they've already done it. So right now, you got RFK Jr. more likely to pull votes away from Trump than Kamala. Recent polls show that RFK Jr. is siphoning off more voters from Trump than he is from, I guess, Biden-Harris, or now just the Harris campaign or Harris-Walz campaign. In a head-to-head matchup, Trump is leading Harris by just 1 point, but the race tightens to a dead heat when you factor in third-party candidates like RFK Jr. and Cornel West. Right now, Kennedy's polling at about 6% of the vote, which is down from his 15% high last November and even his 10% backing in July. But here's the kicker. More Trump supporters would switch to Kennedy when given the option compared to Harris supporters. And RFK, for his part, hasn't held back in criticizing Biden or the Biden-Harris campaign. He's been on national TV saying that Biden is a bigger threat to democracy than Donald Trump.
Do you really believe that when people talk about the threat to democracy that Trump poses, do you really think that that is an equal evil to Biden?
I mean, listen, I can make the argument that President Biden is a much worse threat to democracy. And the reason for that is President Biden is the first candidate in history, the first president in history that has used the federal agencies to censor political speech, so to censor his opponent. I can say that because I just won a case in the Federal Court of Appeals and now before the Supreme Court that shows that he started censoring not just me. 37 hours after he took the oath of office, he was censoring me. No president in the country has ever done that. The greatest threat to democracy is not somebody who questions election returns, but a president of the United States who used the power of his office to force the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to open a portal and give access to that portal to the FBI, to the CIA, to the IRS, to CISA, to NIH, to censor his political critics. President Biden, for the first president in history, to use his power over the Secret Service to deny Secret Service protection to one of his political opponents for political reasons. He's weaponizing the federal agencies. Those are really critical threats to democracy.
Trump, of course.
Biden's administration has been using federal agencies to censor political speech. I mean, we've never seen this in this country. This is something no other president in history has done. Biden's team has opened up portals for FBI, CIA, IRS, and others to silent dissent on social media. This isn't just wrong. It's just flat out un-American, and it's a complete infringement upon our First Amendment right. This kind of overreach that should terrify anyone who cares about freedom. Here's the latest twist. RFK Jr. is seriously considering dropping out of the 2024 race to join forces with President Donald Trump. This bombshell revelation came straight from his running mate, Nicole Shanahan. Check this out.
My gut tells me right now is that we just have to keep being honest. I got to just keep being honest. I got to keep focusing on what matters the most outside of party lines. I need to focus on a vision that goes beyond November. And if that means that we stay in, and, there's benefits to staying in. If we get over 5% of the vote, we actually establish ourselves as a party. 71% of Americans want a strong third party with a real shot at winning. There's even public funds available if we get over 5% of the vote. So we could get, I think it's like $13.5 million in public funds to keep the party going. And that's, that's worth something. That means that we can position for a real third party election in 2028 where we don't have to go around and spend tens of millions of dollars on ballot access, which means that we can spend all of that time and money campaigning. So, there's two options that we're looking at. And one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Walz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah.
This is huge. This would be a game changer. We're talking about preventing a Kamala Waltz presidency that would push this country further down the path of socialism and communism, and honestly, down the path or down this slippery, demonic path that they would like to take us on. This isn't the time for a third-party experiment. Let's just keep it real. This is the time to unite, to destroy the Democrats' communist games and save our freedoms. And it seems like Trump is open to the idea.
Can I ask you about RFK? Because just moments ago, his running mate said that they were considering endorsing you. Have you considered him for a role in the administration, and what role would that be?
Well, we haven't, but I would love that endorsement because I've always liked him.
Would you also consider putting him in the administration?
You're asking me a very unusual question. I haven't been asked that question yet. I like him a lot. I respect him a lot. I probably would if something like that would happen.
Now, obviously, this would be a little strange for traditional Republicans since RFK has a lot of incredibly progressive stances. It also comes a day after he said he would consider putting Elon Musk in the administration. I asked what an administration with two people who a lot of Republicans would not necessarily back would look like. What would he tell Republicans who wouldn't want to vote for that administration? He blew it off. He said that he believes he is smart, that they are smart, that Republicans like him, and it's his decision. But the other thing is that, he really, and I want to point this out, Wolf, we've been talking a lot about this. I asked specifically, in addition to this, what he was doing differently as we see the polls narrowing, as we see this campaign changing. And he said over and over again that he didn't need to change anything, that nothing needed to change, even though he himself acknowledged that the polls are closing. So overall, an interesting conversation.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Kristen Holmes, reporting for us. Good work.
This could completely change the dynamics of everything. Make a deal and save the country. We can't afford another 4 years of what we have going on right now. We have to make this happen, man. Trump, make this happen. RFK, make this happen. RFK's base is way more in common with Trump than with the Harris Waltz base. It's a bunch of lunatics on that side of things over there. You guys know it. I know it. We've seen the videos of these people. There are some kooky creatures over there. I mean, we're talking about the DNC, who right now, think about this, man. They have a Planned Parenthood bus. They're offering pregnancy terminations and vasectomies for free. People walking around with pregnancy termination pill costumes on. I mean, it is ridiculous. I mean, these people are the true party of death and destruction in this country, man. I mean, it's crazy. And think about it. RFK Jr., he's been going after Big Pharma. He's been calling out the FDA and exposing the deep-rooted corruption within our government for a while. These are the same issues that Trump has been fighting against for years. Honestly, look at what he's been dealing with all year long. Trump's policies on energy, the economy, and foreign affairs, with Kennedy's knowledge on mistakes that were made during COVID, it would be an awesome combination that would be a true threat to the Democratic Party. It would. I would say at that point, if that happens and RFK Jr. joins the Trump team, I think we're all definitely talking about a landslide. I think. RFK Jr., he's speaking to a group of Americans who are fed up with the establishment. They're tired of the lies and they're ready for real change. But we all are. They're skeptical of big government. They're sick of crony capitalism, and they see Trump as someone who can actually get things done, but they see it because he proved that he could get things done. When you look at the Trump administration in comparison to what we have going on right now, there's no comparison. Things were a whole heck of a lot better during that time frame. So if RFK Jr. truly cares about the future of this country, if he truly cares about the future of the American people, he'll walk away from his independent bid and join forces with Trump and Vance and get on board, make America great movement. Imagine the power of a Trump-RFK alliance. RFK Jr. has been fighting these battles for years. And with Trump by his side, they could finally drain the swamp for real. The reality is that America is divided into four main groups: the far left progressives, the establishment Democrats and Republicans, and then MAGA. We need a system that represents these divisions, but right now, the third party just isn't a viable option. The Democrats have pushed this country so far left that Republicans, including MAGA and establishment types, can't afford to split. If they did, the far left would steamroll everything and everyone in its way. Where does this leave RFK Jr.? If he truly wants to have impact, his best bet is to join forces with Trump. The polls are close, and Trump might need that extra support to win, especially with the media running cover for Kamala and Tim Walz. Bringing RFK Jr. into the fold wouldn't just be about securing the election. It would be about sending a message that the America First movement is stronger than ever. Let's not forget that Trump's first term was a learning experience for him. I also think that, he came in with the reality TV brashness that we don't see right now. He still is willing to step up and stand up for himself, and defend himself when need be. But he's a whole lot more tame, a whole lot more calm this time around. He definitely made some mistakes, by surrounding himself with swamp creatures, during that first term. But that was his first term in a government position. I think he's learned from those mistakes. He's building a team that can really make a difference in this country, and RFK Jr. could be a key player in that team or on that team, especially on issues like big pharma, free speech, and civil liberty. And the most important part, if he endorses Trump, this could give Trump a whole new narrative. By joining forces with Trump, he wouldn't just be backing a candidate. He'd be uniting all of those who are anti-establishment, all of those who are fed up with the current system, the current economy, and all of those who resonate with his message about inflation and closing down the borders. This would be a powerful move that could shift the entire dynamic of the election. Imagine Trump, Elon, RFK Jr., Vance, Tulsi Gabbard. We're talking unity here, man. I mean, this would be the deep state's worst nightmare. And imagine how beautiful that would be. The election isn't just about Trump. It's about the future of the MAGA movement. Whether Trump wins or loses, there will be a future after him. And we need to make sure that that future is strong. And if RFK Jr. joins Trump's teams, it'll send a clear message that America First is here to stay. So RFK, if you're listening, now's the time. Go ahead and drop out, endorse Trump, and help us take back this daggone country. As my guy Larry Elder would say, we have a country to save. The Democrats have shown you there's no place for you in their party, but there's plenty of room for you in the America First movement. Imagine the ultimate revenge on Democrats who rigged the primaries against you, helping Trump win, and then joining his administration to take down the very system that tried to silence you. That's the kind of bold thinking that we need right now. And that would be cool as all get out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. Consider joining the ARP family. We are fighting the algorithm here. It helps me, it helps the team, it helps the channel. It helps us continue to do what we do on a day-to-day basis. Share this video with somebody that you love, someone that needs to hear this type of information. Make sure you like this video. Like I said, we are fighting against the algorithm. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up, and we'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.